Anticipate Heat by Carmen Wilson. Anticipate Heat. She poured 6 tablespoons of oil into the frying pan. Yes, the recipe had implied 4, but she knew best. Experience always got the better of recipes in the end. When the oil was hot, she added the finely diced garlic and onion. She always did. It was Sunday, and Sunday, as always, there was garlic and onions first. No matter what. Stir fry, curry, lasagna, soup, even roasts. She fried the garlic and onions first. These, for roasts, would be used in the stuffing. Her family, the 4 of them, including her husband Rex, loved her stuffing. And when guests came for dinner on Sunday, they would look and say, "Oh, how on earth did you make that delicious stuffing?" And she would smile, and her eldest son, who knew the routine by now, he was 15, would reply, "Fry the garlic and onions first." And everyone would laugh. In truth, she wasn't the first woman to have fried the garlic and onions first. Before she took to it like granite, she had seen scores of others do it. Perhaps not like scores. But plenty. But certainly plenty. People she knew were regarded good cooks. Her ex-husband's friend Charlie, her ex-best friend Sadie, her old friend Jasmine from the Mothers Group, and her sister Catherine, and her ex-husband's friend John, her ex-husband himself, they all did it nearly every time. So she took it up and became the master of fry the garlic and onions first. Her husband loved it. He loved everything she cooked. He'd said so often, and she liked that about him. Compliments could be fragile or received with fragility. And nowadays, she would always savour the little glow she got from them. She didn't splinter them or dice them or tear them recklessly apart, searching for the heated nub. She'd just savour the little glow. Compliments nowadays were a poultice for wounds not yet seen. She waited until the onions were soft and added the minced beef and sausage. Tonight she was making a meatloaf. Her husband walked into the kitchen on his way to the laundry with a bundle of clothes. He was good like that. Would put his washing into the machine. She liked that about him. He sniffed and smiled. "Oh, that smells so good. What are we having tonight?" "Meatloaf," she said in reply, and smiled. "Meatloaf? That's something new. Have we got tomato sauce?" He was a man who liked tomato sauce with all the fried garlic and onion dishes she made, whether they were made with sauce or not. He would always add tomato sauce, like bechamel, satay, cream, soy, honey, fish sauce, oyster, whatever the sauce was on the dish. He would always have it with tomato. "Yes, of course we do," she said, adding salt and pepper to the meat. She could hear him stuffing his washing into the machine. He grunted partially as he did so. "It's all set," he called. "Thank you," she replied. "I'll put it with after the dishes are done." "Will they be dry before tomorrow?" he asked. "Of course." He came back into the kitchen and looked over her shoulder. It smells so good. What did you say it was?" "Meatloaf," she replied. "Delicious," he said. She wondered whether he had ever eaten meatloaf before. Maybe his mother used to make it for him when he was small. She had set the massive tub of tomato sauce on the table and laughed as he poured a gargantuan pool on the side of his dinner plate. He told her that when they were dating, that his mother gave him free rein of the tomato sauce tub. when he was a youngster. He'd been sitting across from her at the table. His shirt was like wrinkled and teal, maybe linen, open at the collar, and she could just see thick sort of fair hair at his chest. He said he couldn't remember a single meal in all his 15 years of living with his parents where there wasn't tomato sauce with it. She added corn kernels, finely diced carrot, and capsicum to the cooking meat. Whoa! laughed her husband, still in the kitchen. You didn't say there'd be vegetables. What's a meal without vegetables? She laughed with him. That's what all mothers say, he said and laughed. And she laughed with him as he left the kitchen. She heard him settle onto the sofa in the living room and turn the television on. Her ex-husband wasn't a television man. He was a jam on his guitar kind of man. And she didn't miss that. He'd always exulted in a sound she'd thought of as hot, uncontrolled, untried, untested, unrested. He'd race in to see her after trying a combination of limitless sounds to expound. Did you hear that? What did you think? Wasn't that unreal? And she would have to agree that it was, as she'd had no choice but to sit through the 4 hours of its eventual harmonious concoction. Nowadays, she was comfortable with instant harmony. The television, cricket shows, reality shows, baking shows, fishing shows, car racing shows, quiz shows, to her all seemed harmonious. Nothing like the undisciplined revolt of new chord traverses. The television played a live rugby game, the Blues versus the Brumbies, maybe. She wasn't paying the content noise of the television much attention. She grabbed her navy puffer from the hook, slipped it on, and opened the back door. The air was salty cold. The deck was shining in the moonlight. She minced her way across and down the 3 steps to the 2 pots of mixed herbs that did okay, and grabbed a handful of this and that. At the bench, she diced some rinsed herbs and added them to the cooling meat. She stirred it, added a dollop of Worcester, a spoon of brown sugar, tomato sauce, and a splash of vinegar. Her husband and the boys liked pies. Pies were cohesive with tomato sauce. But she didn't mind tomato sauce being eaten with pies. Wait, sorry, I'm just going to... and a splash. No, sorry.
You're a sad little part of my life. Oh, I know. Wish that you were bigger. You make me want to stay in my dreams longer and longer and longer. December. Ain't the greatest gals all on Ain't the greatest girls born on December. There's a devil creeping up on me. God is my soul for kindling and timber. And his voice is like a tambourine. Ringing underwater in the winter. I've written songs about Louisiana, though I've never been to America. And I don't even have a flag. I'm scared of guns, but I've got a bumper sticker. And there's a devil
She grabbed her navy puffer from the hook, zipped it on and opened the back door.
creeps my soul.
The air was salty cold. The deck was shining in the moonlight. She minced her way across and down the 3 steps to the 2 pots of mixed herbs that did okay, and grabbed a handful of this and that. At the bench, she diced the rinsed herbs and added them to the cooling meat. She stirred it, added a dollop of Worcester, a spoon of brown sugar and tomato sauce, and a splash of vinegar. Her husband and the boys liked pies. Pies were cohesive with tomato sauce. She didn't mind tomato sauce being eaten with pies. The meatloaf crust, a brush of breadcrumbs, Worcester, olive oil, tomato paste, white sugar, rosemary and salt. She mixed in a bowl. What really was beautiful, the crust mix. It glistened, it was colourful and smelt fantastic. She took a deep, silent sniff.
I'll be in your brain, twirling all the dials.
And stopped.
There's a devil creeping up.
She looked at the cooling meat mixture. She looked at the crust mixture. She looked at them for a second, or perhaps it was a minute, or maybe more. She gasped. Perhaps she wasn't. She wasn't sure, but she took a packet of dried chili flakes, dusty, expired, but still there, from the back of the spice rack in the pantry, and she opened the packet and she added a hefty spoon of chili to the meat. And she picked up the wooden ladle and she stirred the chili in. The red chili looked as if it belonged in the mixed meat mixture. It had always been there, as if it had only been absent because she hadn't added it yet. And as she shaped the meat mixture, alive with colours and flavours, and coated it with the crust and the baking dish, she felt content. Television noise content, washing in the washing machine content, fried garlic and onions content. When the meatloaf was cooked, she called her family to the table. "Dinner!" she yelled. Her 2 sons and her husband came to the dinner table. They sat down and she brought out the meatloaf on its own tray into them. They each added a small morsel of broccoli, a large portion of meatloaf, and an even larger douse of tomato sauce to their plates. smells delicious, said her husband Rex. How on earth did you make it? She was about to warn them about the chili, not something they ever ate or were fond of, but her eldest son got there first. Try the garlic and onions first, he said, and everyone laughed. And then they ate the first bite.
Everything's going so well. And you use the radio. Use the radio. Use the